He has had 6 career pole positions as Acosta in 88 Grand Prix starts, just the one previously in MotoGP. Just building up some confidence, trying to find his rhythm once again. That high-speed spill at turn 8. That will have certainly just put a little bit of a niggling doubt at the back of his mind. I think if he's able to find anything inside the top 5 here, this will be a brilliant job by Acosta, considering what happened to him right at the start of this session. The Giannantonio is just directly behind the Spaniard on circuit. Didier, who came through Q1 in 2nd place, he's looking to push himself back up onto those first 2 rows. 7th at the moment, estimated P6.
Yeah, Marquez has got 3/10 over Bastianini, but there's a 6/10 gap to potentially slot yourself into to put yourself on the front row of the grid. Mir on a 37.2. That lap time is very much beatable for several riders out there on track, and Giannantonio might not be too far away from that himself, depending on how his final sector goes. So this is the first representative lap time really for Pedro Acosta. It's going to put him somewhere, I guess, on the 3rd row of the grid. In fact, it's 4th row, 10th. Giannantonio, though, does go onto the front row. He does squeeze ahead of Mir by less than a 10th.
Just used Acosta there as the perfect reference. Just 50 metres, he sat back of the Spaniard and just ran his markers, ran his lines, and 3rd fastest goes to Giannantonio. Surely he can't. Surely he can't, can he? Having come through Q1 last weekend in Spielberg to fire the Factory Aprilia onto pole position, he's hoping lightning strikes twice here in Lake Balaton, isn't he? And Marco Bezzecchi, at the moment, this lap, what a 2nd sector that was from Bez. No problem stopping the Aprilia so far on this current lap. He's about to tick through sector 3 now. Let's see how he's getting on. Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. Surely if he carries this lap on through, he's going to be firing himself onto the front row of the grid, potentially 4th. Let's see how he gets on now. 3/4 of the way through the final sector, through turn 17, full lean angle on the Factory Aprilia, through that final corner, hard on the gas, up into 2nd, a 1:36.808. That's 8 thousandths of a second slower than what he managed to get through Q1, but he'll be relieved at the moment. 2nd for Bez, behind Mark in pole.
Just goes to show you only need to string 1 clean lap together to get yourself on the front row. Finally, Marco Bezzecchi has done that. Acosta's now starting to build up speed. This could put him on the 2nd row of the grid. Giannantonio is now launching an attack at Marquez. Of course, he also came through Q1.
Yeah, 5th place as it stands right now as well for Joan Mir. He was 5th on the grid in Brno as we resume the action after the summer break. Giannantonio finds another high 1:36, a 1:36.872, still in that 3rd place. He needs to give some favours back to Pedro Acosta at the moment. Does Didier. 5th place for Quartararo. Wow, just wow. How on earth is Fabio Quartararo finding low 1:37s on that factory Yamaha? That bike has no right to be where it is. It's the genius talent of Quartararo that's put that machine up into 6th place. 5th place briefly, now he's back in 6th.
Well, Marc Marquez won't be improving on his 36.6 on this lap. You saw him there rolling off into turn 5. Luca Marini's just improved into 8, so it's 8th and 9th now for the factory Hondas. Alex Marquez has just gone over the line and done a 37.2. He's still nailed down in 10th.
Quartararo 6/10ths faster than what he managed yesterday. Where would Yamaha be without the Frenchman at the moment? Luca Marini is in 8th place. The Giannantonio still locked onto the rear tyre of Acosta, just set the best 2nd sector of the session, although as you can see,
well, the yellows.
Yeah, I was going to say, it says lap cancel for a yellow flag. I think that might be an incorrect graphic. We'll keep close tabs on what's going on right now with Didier. Aldeguer has just pushed himself up into 8th place, and we expected a little bit more from Aldeguer, and that's his session over. With a minute remaining, he goes in hot into the 1st corner. So at best, Aldeguer, who was superb in the latter stages in Spielberg last time out, to charge his way through to 2nd. At best, he'll be 8th on the grid, middle of row 3.
I think it was a shortcut for Giannantonio and Acosta. They've both ran off on this lap. I think they might just get around for one more lap. They certainly need it. So does Alex Marquez, who's currently down in 11th place. This is a crucial final 30 seconds or so for the 73.
Oh, he was out the seat. He was out the seat there. That's going to cost him time. Going to cost him a lot of time. I mean, 11th on the rankings, 14th he'll be on the grid for the Grand Prix tomorrow with that 3 grid place penalty. 0.093 is the 93 up on his own best time. Alex Marquez.
Wow.
Well, he's got over the line for one more lap, but is it curtains as far as the 73 is concerned? He could be 14th on the grid tomorrow.
Yeah, right next to Pecco Bagnaia on the grid as it stands for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Yellow flags are back out in the second sector, which is the sector Marc Marquez is just completing. He's on the verge of extending his advantage. He might not need to.
Oh, it's Pol Espargaro. It's been a damaging session this, as far as KTM are concerned. Pedro Acosta already down hard in the gravel at turn 8, and now Pol Espargaro's on the deck as well. So he's 12th fastest in this session.
And Acosta's now hitting those yellows in the second sector. So Pedro Acosta, he will not be starting from the front row of the grid. That run in 2025 is going to continue. That is another dropping of the ball, I'm afraid, from an Acosta point of view. Of course, with the crash early on, way too far back to challenge Marc Marquez. Surely from there, 7th on the grid.
Bezzecchi and Marini, they're the only two that have taken the checker flag so far in this session. Over the line, Marc Marquez goes, and of course it is. Of course, it's another fastest lap. Round of applause from team boss Davide Tardozzi. 1:36.518, by far the fastest time we've seen of this opening weekend here in Balaton Park. Alex Marquez can forget it. Alex Marquez is going to be deep on the grid for tomorrow's main Grand Prix. Well, deep on the grid for the sprint this afternoon. 11th quickest for Alex. He'll keep that place because the only rider behind him in this Q2 session is Pol Espargaro, who's on the floor crashing out of contention. But 14th on the grid, Alex will find himself in the Grand Prix tomorrow. Joan Mir. Well, at one stage, Mir was on the middle of the second row in 5th place. Nothing going on his final flying lap. Mir will be starting in 10th spot. Out-qualified, not to what we've said this so far this season, by his factory Honda teammate Luca Marini. Top job that by Marini. He'll be starting in 9th. There's going to be a couple of real frustrated Spaniards at the end of that session. Acosta 7th. He always feared the worst when he was down heavy early on at turn 8. 7th for a rider who's been the closest rival really throughout this weekend to Marc, and Fermin Aldeguer